Hello. I'm a little ungrounded. I'd like to thank Anthony for that. Part of my talk is on my emotional journey that I went through with my mother. And the song just went to the root of it. Forgiveness. It's all within us that we can forgive. But then I'm like, what stops us? And I go, inside of our brain, if there's a theory that we have three brains, we have the reptilian, the fight or flight, and then we have the emotional part of us, and then we have the thought process. And I'm going, well, I'm going to swear, well, shit, how am I going to get past and forgive when the emotions start, like bang, right away? It's there, first and foremost. Somebody's hurt me, how am I to forgive them? When, well, I'm not running away and I might want to fight them, but I'm in the emotion. How the heck can I forgive when I am in that emotion? And then I went, well, I am a conscious being. I can just forgive. And then I went, really? Am I a conscious being? And then I went, oh, that's ego. Good on you, Neil. You recognized that that was ego. It's entirely ego. And then I had to go, well, so when does the ego get involved in this little mind part of mine? So if I'm not in immediate danger, I'm not running, but now I'm mad and I'm in the emotions, and then my ego's in here, it's like, what's going on? How am I supposed to do this forgiveness piece? And it was, we're an unconscious being with conscious thoughts. And then I went, that's why that's why in school we had to memorize times tables. So we didn't have to sit there and go, 3 times 3 is, well, I have this group of 3 sticks here, this group of 3 sticks here, and this 3 groups of sticks here. 1, 2, 3, 4, to come up with 9. We moved it into our unconscious and subconscious behavior. So once we could move that to our subconscious and unconscious behavior, it's possible. And that's my ego talking right now here. Says it's possible. Yes, sir, we can do this. In 2006, I was challenged with my first real piece of, can I forgive? Tina and I had been camping with a friend, and it was the long weekend, and on the Monday, he was murdered. I was so mad. I was so sad. Somebody I love and cared for is taken from me. The murderer was his son-in-law, who I loved as well. How the heck can I get through that? How do I forgive this man, his name was John, for doing something horrific to someone I loved? And it was a brutal, horrific murder. And it was involved in drugs. And I went, how the heck can I get through this? And the first part to any forgiveness, you have to forgive yourself. You have to allow yourself to be in those emotions. I am so mad that Gord died. I am so sad that Gord died. I am so sad that he will no longer be part of my life. And it's the right realization that I'm worthy of those feelings. And then it's the feelings against John. You insert all the bad words when you're going through that could ever come up with. John, how could you do this? What is wrong with you? Why? Why? You're not worthy. You're scum. You're a piece of whatever. You have to learn to forgive yourself. And then you have to tell your story. I had to tell my story. How can I let it go? There's nothing I could do to change this fact. There is nothing. Gordon is dead. John is the murderer. Both of those actions occurred. But I had beautiful times with with Gord. And I just needed to carry those in my heart. I had beautiful times with John. And I will never understand why John did it. John served his time. And when he got out after 18 years, he couldn't live. Everything reminded him of his action. He couldn't forgive himself. So he took his life. His environment was so controlled in prison that he couldn't take his life in prison. So he had to wait till he was out. So he suffered for 18 years. In 2006, I thought I was getting pretty good at this. 2012, my mother had previously in about 2004, she had a heart attack. She survived the heart attack, but I didn't know this at the time. But when you have a heart attack, your body shuts down, and then like a computer, your internal organs go through a reboot process. They check all the ins and outs, and all the electronics is working, and if something's out of kilter, it won't start. My mother's kidneys didn't start. I was mad at my mom. We'd asked her for years to quit smoking. Her kidneys didn't start because she smoked and she had hardening of the arteries. Self-inflicted. Fast forward to 2012, she's in the hospital from another heart condition. Heart's just not working well. She refused dialysis. She was on dialysis for 3 times a week for almost 8 years. My mother was the inspiration to many good things I did in my life. When I was about 14, I was questioning God, the existence, why are we here? That's pretty heady stuff for 14 years old. And my mother said to me, I cannot answer that question for you because it would be my answer. So she did the next best thing. We walked to the library and she got me all the spiritual masters that the library could get at the time. I read the Quran, I read various versions of the Bible, I read the Old Testament, the New Testament, and I started trying to find predominantly mainstream religion, because that's what was available to me. I'd been kicked out and asked not to come back. And not because I was rude, but because I asked the why. And people don't like to sometimes get the whys. Like some people, when you ask them, well, why do you believe in God? What is it that they don't even come with it, the answer of well, it's just a feeling, and I could accept that. It's just a feeling. Because it is for me. I just know that God exists and God is part of my life and God is outside in the world and inside of you and inside of you and inside of me. I just know this. My inability to articulate it is what's the limiting factor. So I'd been kicked out because I asked why too many times. Asked, not really thrown out the door, but I was asked not to come back because I was a disruptive influence. I wasn't smart like Sheldon to be able to get the pastor and sit down and have a talk on the steps like Sheldon and the Big Bang Theory. But it was formative because I recognized that everyone has their own reasons why they believe in God, why they don't believe in God, whether they're comfortable using the word God, whether they're more comfortable using the word universe, whether they're comfortable, but everybody has it. Once again, power of forgiveness. I was mad. These people are supposed to be spiritual. They're supposed to be religious. They're supposed to be on a higher plateau. They are my mentors and my teachers. And here they are asking me not to come back. It wasn't until years later when I was reflecting that if they would have accepted me, I would have been indoctrined into their way. I would have only ever seen their way. So it allowed me, by them saying, no, just, move on. It gave me an opportunity to see the world, which is what my mother did for me. She didn't give me the answer. She gave me the opportunity to seek it outside, to find my own answer. At 17, I'm sitting with one of my best friends. He was supposed to be here today, but I won't, when he watches this tape, Tim, you're out of the will. You're no longer my best friend. And know that I'm not harboring any resentment or hard feelings. Absolutely. Because he's got his own stuff going on. And there's a quote, when I started to look for, I'll just pause here for a second. When I was asked to speak, I don't know about you, but anytime I'm asked to do something, that's the moment the lessons show up for me as a speaker. And when I was asked to talk on forgiveness, I was reluctant. Because I know that I get kicked in the pants to learn or to relearn the lesson. And I was being drawn to share about my mother. And it was like, am I willing to go there? Do I want to go there? And I went, well, I'm willing to go there, but do I want to go there? And it's no. So one of the quotes that I found is, forgiveness is the path to love. Luke chapter 4, verse 47. And that's what forgiveness is. It starts you. It is a path to love. You have to be willing to love yourself enough. If somebody does something against you, and they walk away, and they no longer think about it, but you're fretting about it for months, years, and weeks, who is it really hurting? Oh, we feel really justified in our indignation, or we can, but who's carrying all that around? Most likely not them. And then equally, it's like, why? So my mother in the hospital chose to not have dialysis. If you're ever going to pass away from kidney failure, hopefully nobody's going through that right now here, it's a peaceful way to go. Your body just slowly fills with toxins and causes the heart to stop. There is absolutely no pain. Zero pain. So my mother was going to, well, I didn't know this at the time, but she said she didn't want dialysis. The medical system, 22 years ago, there was no MAID. There was none of this. It was out and out suicide. Our family had to choose. So the bravest thing that I have ever seen my dad do was say yes. 40 years of marriage, and willingly know that your partner wants out. And to love that person enough, in spite of the hurt, to say yes. Because we could have said, sorry, Mom, we're fighting you on this. And in her conscious times, when she was cognizant, she would have refused. Not gone and got dialysis. The ambulance would have taken her after a week and a half, and then she'd have gone through dialysis. She'd have been hospitalized. We'd send her home. Start the vicious cycle, because the system has to do what the system needs to do. The bravest thing my dad has ever done was say yes. And as a family, it's the bravest thing we collectively have done. We have never once ever questioned anyone's motive as to why they said yes. Ever. Even though after we said yes, and I'm walking away, the thoughts of, oh, why doesn't my mother love me enough? Why doesn't she want to fight for me? And then my own personal philosophy came into play. And then I was mad at myself. My personal philosophy is be the first person in the room to forgive. Be that person to forgive first. Tina and I affectionately will go, no, I forgive you. No, I forgive you. No, I was first. I believe in forgiving first. Because at the end of the day, I've seen friends murdered. My mother didn't want to live in this world. But yet I needed to forgive. But that doesn't mean that I didn't carry resentment and hard feelings, because back to the first part that I started with, I was not in a fight and flight mode, but I was sure the hell in the emotion. My mother was choosing to die. I was never going to be able to hold conversations with her. My mother was a philosopher, an amateur one at the heart. She loved to talk about everything and anything. She was willing to go there. And if she didn't know, she was willing to say, I don't know. But let's continue the conversation and say that it's this. And just go down with it. My mother was a free-spirited adventurer. She was born in the United States. She was a California Valley girl. Her mother was from Scotland. So what does my mother do as a California girl? She treks off to Edinburgh, Scotland, and becomes a nurse. And everyone knows that when you're a nurse in Edinburgh, you pick some backwards place in the middle of nowhere, Saskatchewan, to do your nurse's training. Everyone knows that. You don't pick a big city. You pick in the middle of nowhere, where it's a backwards place in the 50s, where she met my father, who still had an outhouse. He didn't have indoor plumbing. And she was a very civilized person. So she was the adventure. This is where I get my willingness to go and try things. It's from her. Be the first to forgive. Because as soon as you're not, that's ego. That's you having to be right. Forgiveness and forgetting are two different things. You can forgive just like that. You don't have to forget. If I physically accosted you, you can forgive me because of what's may have going on in my life, but you don't have to forget, and you can be wary the next time we're in a similar situation. But you can forgive me so that you can let it go. As we look into, I look into my forgiveness. I don't carry grudges. I hope you don't carry grudges. We have an opportunity to forgive ourselves. Just close your eyes for a moment. I am perfect. I am whole. I am complete. And I forgive myself. I forgive myself for the transgressions that I have inadvertently done to others. I forgive myself for the transgressions that I knowingly may have done to another. And I forgive myself because I know I acted in the best interests and the best way I could in that exact moment, because I was just being me. So the 3 steps to forgiveness, you can open your eyes again, is forgive yourself. Step 2, forgive the other person. Step 3 is let it go. Just let it go. Recognizing that you're going to feel the emotions, and then your conscious part of you is going to become part of it. And just remember, you're doing the best you can in the moment. And you're doing the best you can in this moment. And the best you can in this moment. And if you recognize that it wasn't your most stellar moment 2 seconds ago, just recognize that that was the best you could do then, and be better now. And then be better now. And then be better now. Because that's all you can do, is love yourself, accept yourself, be the best version of you in this moment, right here, right now. And when you're out of the emotion, I ask you to spend time looking into yourself. What is it that triggered you? Some self-reflection. What is it that triggered you? Why are you holding this grudge? What is it that you want out of this? Is there something that you can do to resolve this? Want to do? Need to do? Remember, lots of times, or I ask you to think that need to do many times involves our ego and our sense of righteousness and our sense of it has to be this way. I'll leave you with this quote. Forgiveness restores broken relationships. Genesis chapter 50, verse 17. Anthony's going to take us into a meditation. Oh, I snuck up on him.
I went to the washroom, so I unplugged it because I didn't want to have a
Yes.
accidental moment. I am enough. I am enough. I am enough. Just as I am. I am enough. I am enough. I am enough. Just as I am. There is nothing that I need to say.
am enough. I am enough. I am enough. Just as I am. There is nothing that I need to do. There is nothing that I need to do. I am enough. I am enough. I am enough. Just as I am. I am enough. I am enough. I am enough. Just as I am. So I invite you, close your eyes. Let go of the tightness in your shoulders, your arms, your hand. Just feel your bottom end in this seat. Take in a deep breath. And then let it out. Take in a deep breath. Use your imagination. Picture yourself standing on a cliff overlooking an ocean. Slight breeze coming off the ocean. You can feel it. You can taste the salt in the air. Take a deep breath in. You are enough. You are perfect in every way. Take a deep breath in. In this moment, feel yourself. Feel the love that you have for another. Anyone. If you can't think of anyone, a puppy, a kitten, anyone, anything that you just love. Feel that emotion of love. Be in that moment. Take a deep breath in. Forgive yourself, because you are enough. Be one with yourself, that you are the best version of yourself. Be one with you're doing the best you can. Take another deep breath in. Feel that love. Feel the love that I'm sharing with you, that I am thankful that you are in my life. I am humbled and I am honored for you to be in my life. Take a deep breath in. Feel yourself in your seat. I am enough.